Good evening, everyone. We are back to another episode of our top 100 countdown of my favorite rappers and MCs. So far, we've counted all the way down from 100 to 60, and today we will get from 59 to 40. So let's get right into it. Okay, starting off, we got my favorite member of the Locks or D Block, which is Styles P. And I think he is actually such a good rapper. And I'll put it this way, he ranks higher on my list and became a more like respected and loved artist by me when I found out he freestyles all his lyrics. I did not know that. I used to think he wrote it down or something. I unless a rapper says it or I discover that they say it, I don't know if they do it or not, right? So hold on, I'm trying to delete this comment because I forgot to put the number. As we're going through, I gotta put the number, right? So 59, right? Okay, 59. Hold on. Styles P. So yeah, as I was saying, like I didn't know that he freestyles all his lyrics, right? So once I discovered that, I had a lot more appreciation for him because to freestyle the shit he says, oh man, he is much better than I realized because that is some serious skill. Like, even if it was written, the dude was nice, right? But to freestyle it, whew, Styles P is a beast. And I mean, I love his appearances with the Locks, like even when they did the group album and when they did D Block. They had some great stuff like Take Everything. I love that song. I like the guest appearances they did too because I mean he actually always seems to have the hottest verse of every member in the Locks on the songs that they're on. Like Sheik Glutes does good, Jada Kiss comes in kind of second usually, but Styles P always brings it home with the hardest verse representing the crew. And I mean, I love his solo stuff like I Get High too, and he's just got some really fire verses. Like I love the verse on 24 Hours to Live. Probably my favorite next to Mace, Black Rob, and DMX, although they were all good on that song. Those are, in fact, if I had to pick three, Mace's verse was cool. I actually really like his verse. It's his song. Um, DMX definitely. You know what? I like Black Rob's verse, but I'm gonna have to say Styles P's verse would probably be the third. Black Rob would be fourth favorite verse on that. Then probably Jadakiss and Sheik Luch, right? All very good, but in that order, right? And then on the song, um, the N word done started something, which is DMX's song. His verse where he's rapping about Gretzky and respect me like Pesci. I mean, he's killing it. And then Reservoir Dogs, he's got the second last verse before Jay-Z finishes the song with the final verse. He's right after Sauce Money. And what makes his verse so hype is he was so pissed off that he had just gotten off tour. They had their luggage and they had to bring it to the studio because Jay was very insistent that they recorded it on that day. So Styles P, he's tired. They've been on tour. He's high. He's got to do it. And he's stressed. He's kind of pissed off about the whole situation. So he's dissing Jay-Z on Jay-Z's own song, right? I don't give a fuck who you are. So fuck who you are. Like, he just goes off. And I was like, yo, Styles P is wild. Like to diss the dude's song you're on. Like, oh my god, that's crazy, man. So yeah, it's verses like that I'm like, yo, Styles P was tight. If I had 24 hours to live, I'd probably run into the station, squeezing the M. I'd be waiting to get to hell and bust down Satan. Like, that's what I mean. His lyrics are so tight that even if he wrote it, he wouldn't be a bad rapper. But to freestyle it, Styles P's a beast. Much love and respect to him. I actually almost got to make a song with him too. I didn't get an enclosed amount, But before this manager who was up to shady stuff trying to get with my girl at the time, when we were in talks of having some guest rappers appear on a song, he was going to get Styles P to do one of the verses on the song. And that's kind of one of the one things I regret. He said he was going to hop on it, and I didn't really think the manager dude, MC Gemini, as he calls himself, was that good. But I was willing to make this song because I wanted Styles P on it. You dig? So yeah, that's why he comes in at number 59. I apologize for the barking and the background noise. Seems like that always comes in at the worst times. Usually trains come by and stuff. It's frustrating, but nothing I can do about that. Anyways, now we get to number 58, which is the Method Man, Method Man. So, besides being one of my favorite members of the Wu-Tang Clan, he is such a great lyricist because he's so laid back about it, but he's very clever. Like what I love about Method Man is he's got such a smooth flow that you don't really realize all the intricate stuff he's hitting you with, because he's usually very laid back and almost comical about it. And then he'll surprise you saying some really clever lines that you're like, it's like he appears out of the smoke, like he's like a ninja. He appears out of the smoke, throws a smoke bomb in your face, and he just hits you, and you don't see it coming. He's the master of smoke, and I mean that's why he's a stoner and all that. But I mean, yeah, you look at his appearances on, he got his own solo on Wu Tang Clan's first album. That song is one of my favorites on the album, along with Jizz's solo. Those two deserved solos because those songs are tight. And then you look at his verses on things like Protect Your Neck, um, The Seventh Chamber, all really good stuff. And I mean, I also really love the song that won a Grammy he did. Besides the stuff he did with Redman, I mean, that song he did with Redman and Tupac and all them, that song was great. But I love the song he did with Mary J. Blige, You're All I Need. That was my jam back in the day because it's sweet and it's romantic. And he's rapping very poetic and laid back, but he's still got the sense of humor that it doesn't sound too mushy. He still sounds like the same old Method Man, right? I mean, he's a great actor. He's a very talented, laid back dude. I mean, man, he's got some great stories because I'll also put it this way. Some people, if they were not to credit him as being like one of the best lyricists in Wu Tang Clan or a great lyricist in hip hop in general, I'd say look at the song he did with Biggie. You listen to the What. Biggie is killing it on the What. Biggie has got some of his most iconic lines on the What. Like, they soft like Twinkie villain, playing the villain, prepare for this rap killing. Biggie Smalls is the illest. His style is played out like Arnold when they're like, what you talking about, Willis? Like, Biggie is ripping that song. But Method Man goes toe to toe with him. Bars on that. I mean, Method Man's got this one line where he's like, I get rugged as a motherfucking carpet. Get rugged like a carpet, right? I'm like, yo. When I heard that, I was like, yo. I was not expecting that. I'm like, yo, Method Man, he'll throw that ninja star at you and he'll blindside you. You won't even see it coming, right? Sorry, I'm waiting for them to bring the dog in and quiet down so I can continue. I really don't like talking and noise and all that when I'm trying to do this. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to quiet down. I'll type in the next one while I'm waiting. Sorry, it really throws me off my groove when I do that. I hate how they just do that when I'm doing these shows, but nothing I can do about it. So um let's see, where am I? See, that whole thing just threw me off my groove completely. Okay, so 57. Apologize for the background noise of yelling. Really wish it wasn't going on in the middle of my live broadcast, but some people just don't have any credibility or respect when I'm doing this. It's very annoying. Anyways, yeah, where was I? Okay, number 57 is Q-Tip. Now, besides being an iconic member of a tribe called Quest, a great producer who's done songs with Nas and many others. I mean, he is a smooth lyricist. I mean, he does predominant amount of the verses on A Tribe Called Quest first album, which I absolutely loved. A Fool in the Rain, Can I Kick It? He's got some great, song verses on that. And I also love the song he did with Big Daddy Kane and Busta Rhymes. Like that was one of Q-Tip's best verses. So as an MC, he's truly iconic because so many people were influenced by A Tribe Called Quest. Like you look at his style, his laid back, mellow approach. So many people in later generations of hip hop have tried to copy that. And you also look at how his production advanced hip hop. And this guy was a crazy good producer too. He's so important to hip hop because not only was he the first producer to layer multiple samples on top of each other, but this dude made the beat for One Love on a pause tape, which is when you take a loop of a song and you just keep repeating the same loop over and over again. Like record it on a tape, stop it, rewind the tape or the record, and replay it. With the beat from One Love, the sample he got for that too, it was on a vinyl record. There was no tape of that particular record. So he had to get it off the vinyl, and he just had precise, accurate time and patience to loop it over and over again enough to make the beat. And DJ Premier and Nas were so impressed by like the pause tape beat. They're like, yo, okay, Q-Tip's gonna make a hot joint for this record. So obviously, I don't know if they used the entire pause tape for the beat, but I do know that they did bring it into the studio, polish it up, add some drums. So that's what I'm saying. On top of being a very influential and iconic MC with his style, he's one of the most important producers too in hip hop history, which the combination of these two things is why Q-Tip is just an icon. And I mean, don't underestimate his smooth style lyrics too, because he like when he drops those rhymes on Benita Applebaum, that was just my jam. Like everything he's saying is so laid back. Man, Q-Tip was just a pro. Smooth and cool always, right? And I mean, the dude dated Janet Jackson, and apparently I'm hearing rumors of them getting back together. So Q-Tip's doing his thing, I applaud that. Shout outs to him for real. All right, next we have 56, Ice-T, the original gangster. Now, a lot of people think of Ice-T as mostly being an actor because of movies like New Jack City and his constantly long portrayal on, Law and Order SVU. But before then, this guy was hard, man. You listen to the records Ice-T had before he really got into acting, right? He had some great records. Like he came out before NWA. He did his own thing and he had a style that was iconic for West Coast hip hop. One of my favorite joints, it shows what a good storyteller he was as well as being a rapper was Midnight. Midnight was one of the hottest jams I ever heard. Colors was a great joint. I really loved Colors. He had an awesome guest appearance too on Tupac's song Last Words with Ice Cube. Like to hear Tupac, Ice Cube, and Ice-T ripping it up. I mean, Ice-T holds his own because he was the original gangster, which he's got a song called that too. Fresh. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people focus on Ice-T as being the actor. And I'm like, yeah, he is a great actor. I ain't even disrespecting his acting. Like he is fantastic. He really puts a lot into it. And if that's what he likes doing more, I could totally dig that, and that's cool. But like I say, with the whole approach to his rapping, dude was nice, man. He would say some clever lines, man. And like I say, you listen to songs, like I say, Midnight is probably one of my favorite songs. The story he tell, it's so dark and grim, and he just paints this vivid picture. It's very cinematic when you listen to that song. You can picture the story he's telling unfolding. It feels like it's really happening as you're listening to it. And that's why I think he was such a good actor, because he was so good at sucking you into the world of his music, telling his stories, that it just made him that much better as an actor. So, yeah, that is our number 56. Next at 55, we got Prodigy of Mobb Deep. Now, Mobb Deep is iconic, and that's why I had to put Havoc in this list too. But Prodigy was the sharp one with the lyrics. I mean, when you think of classic Mobb Deep records and lines that, like, were in those songs, it's usually Prodigy who said most of them. Like that whole first verse of Shook Ones, he's killing it. You listen to Survival of the Fittest, Hell on Earth, Up North Trip, where he's got two verses on it. I mean, Prodigy was a beast. And then I also love his guest appearance on the big song Tres Leches, where he's just killing that song too. And I mean, he got to do a lot of songs with a lot of great different artists. He worked with Cormega. He worked with a lot of cool Queensbridge cats, like he did songs with Nas, all Mobb Deep kind of worked around. Like that's what I'm saying. But as far as Prodigy's lyrics, when you understand his mind state, this is why I think Prodigy was such a good MC. And a lot of people maybe never looked at it this way, but he was always walking the balance of a razor's edge with his life. He had sickle cell. He was very talented. He was artistically gifted, and he had all these talents as far as arts. But sickle cell is a very dangerous disease, and you never know how it's going to play out. You have to play each moment of your life extra careful, because if something in your blood slightly changes in a radical way, you could die. So he's literally living every breath as if it could be his last. And when you think about that, man, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of tension. That's literally walking on the fine edge of a razor to live life like that. That's why his lyrics were so sharp, and it's like he's hitting you on his tippy toes, because he really doesn't know when the last moment's gonna come for him. May he rest in peace. And it's so sad, because he is one rapper I would have loved to make a song with too. Like I always loved Prodigy stuff. And I mean, it's just a shame too, because I feel like Havoc will not get as much recognition as a lyricist as Prodigy did. And now that Prodigy's dead, it's like the whole era of all those classic hard Mobb Deep records is over. Because with no Prodigy, you can't have Mobb Deep. I mean, sure, Havoc was a great lyricist and he made the beats, but it was Prodigy that made them so much more iconic. And without the two of them together, you just ain't got the perfect combination that made Mobb Deep. Havoc was great, so was Prodigy. It took the two of them to make it what it was. So, great lyricist, may he rest in peace. And probably if I was going to say my favorite verse, I'm going to say Up North Trip. I really loved his lyrics on that song. So, yeah, Up North Trip for sure. All right, next we have 54, which is the DOC. The DOC, man. Okay, I'm going to pull this record out because I actually got one of this dude's records in this case, right? I don't have records of all these other rappers to give examples. Some I do, but others I don't. This is one of the ones I actually do have the record of. This is his second album, Helter Skelter, and one of my favorite albums. Now, let me, recap the history a little, just so y'all know who I'm talking about. In case you don't know, you probably don't know that record if you do know him, but let me tell you, the DOC was a fantastic rapper that started originally in the early 80s in a Dallas, Texas rap group called the Fila Fresh Crew. And he did early joints like that, which were dope too, called I Hate to Go to Work, which is an awesome song, right? And he was such a good lyricist that he helped other rappers write lyrics, wrote lyrics for other rappers, and helped develop others' crafts. Fast forward, he meets Dr. Dre, ends up, appearing on NWA records, starts cutting his own solo album. No One Can Do It Better, which was a hip hop masterpiece because he had songs like The Formula, It's Funky Enough, Beautiful but Deadly, the self-titled track, the DOC and the Doctor. Man, every joint on that record was mint. It was crisp. He was dope. And then he gets in a car accident. He's drunk coming home one night, crashes through sort of like the guardrails on the freeway, goes through the windshield, hits a tree, and it crushes his larynx. So from now on, he talks like this, pretty much. Like, it's because of the suppression of his vocal cords. It crushed them in. And the thing was, when they were trying to get him back to shape, he was so desperate to get back to making music that he asked them to remove the scar tissue, hoping that it would expedite the healing process. The problem is, they weren't as advanced with Medicare back then, and they removed too much scarred tissue to the point that the vocal cords could never form the way they originally were. So his voice was forever tainted like that. And of course, that put his own rapping career on the back burner. He left with Dr. Dre to go to Death Row, started helping Snoop Dogg. He was a mentor for Snoop Dogg and all that. Helped write a good chunk of the songs on the Chronic. Helped Snoop Dogg write Doggy Style, all that. But he wanted to do his own thing. In fact, he even appeared on one of the songs on Doggy Style, Serial Killer, doing backup vocals with the, scary, intense voice that he now has. But after he wasn't getting paid, he decided to take the songs he was writing for Dr. Dre's second album, Helter Skelter, which was going to be a collaboration album between Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, went to Atlanta. From there, he hooked up with a producer called Erotic D and made his own, Helter Skelter. Now, the album went gold, but it wasn't considered like a major success. And yet I could say this is one of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time. I even talked to the DOC about this. Like, that's right. I actually have talked with him. We cool. In fact, I actually felt like there was a bit of tension. Maybe he misunderstood me, but we cleared the air, and I'm glad we cool and we on good terms because I got so much love and respect for him because early on as a rapper, I was listening to It's Funky Enough, helping develop my craft. And even listening to him, it helped me learn by listening to him and how he would write for other artists, how to write and perfect and craft my style. So he was a very big influence on me as a rapper. That's why I got so much love and respect for him. I had a talk with him once where I told him, I said, your first album is a classic. I'm not disputing that. And I was trying to make peace and just really show him what I was trying to say, right? Because I got so much love and respect for this dude, right? So I said, I'd love to make a song with you. I know you ain't really into it with your voice not being the same anymore, which it started to come back a little bit, which, I hope eventually it does heal and he'll get back to music because I'm rooting for him. He was always one of my favorites, the Doc. Some people say it stands for the disciple of Christ, which I kind of believe because of the whole cross on the album cover. It's possible, right? But I said to him, I said, look, the first album, it was a classic. It was great. But your second album, man, it's so underrated and underappreciated, and it is its own masterpiece because you grew as an artist. You might not have had the same smooth voice that you had on that first album, but your lyrics got deeper, man. You're telling these deep emotional stories. You were hitting things on the emotional spectrum of like what makes Tupac great. Like, that's what makes that album beautiful in its own way. The beats are raw, dark, funky. Some of my favorite beats ever on this record. And the lyrics he's saying, yeah, he doesn't have the smooth voice, but he's got some clever rhymes. He's showing you, hey, don't trip on him just because, they think he's sort of handicapped as a rapper. He could still rap, even with his voice kind of crushed in, which is pretty intense, right? And I mean, the stories he's saying, it was real stuff, real emotions. Helter Skelter was a masterpiece. And I told him, like, man, you were so emotional. The beats were funky. You told these great stories. It's an underappreciated masterpiece. Even if it's not your favorite, I know no one could do it better. Was you at your height and that's what you love, but Don't ever think that wasn't a great record. And I love that record. It's still one of my favorites. And you know what he said to me? He posted a Tupac meme on Twitter, and he was like, "Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. You are appreciated." Like the Tupac quote, because I said, "Man, you had that emotional depth like Tupac on these songs." So after that, we cool, and I'm glad because, like I said, this was like an early hero to me, and I feel like when I was trying to tell him, like, man, Helter Skelter was dope, man. You shouldn't give up being a rapper just because your voice isn't the way it was. Like you did some great stuff, man. I'd still like to work with him. I'll put him like that. Even with his voice as it is, I'd still love to make a song with DOC. Because I know what he writes and what he raps is gonna be dope. No matter how his voice sounds, he a great lyricist. He taught me the principles, the foundation of writing lyrics. So I got so much love for the DOC. And that's why I think he misunderstood that. He really doesn't feel comfortable rapping with the way it is. And maybe he thought I wasn't being serious, but that's why I broke it down. Like, man, what makes that great? It's the emotional level and depth and the story you told, the beats, like all that. You on a Tupac vibe with that record, man. You evolved as an artist, and once he understood, like my sincerity of what I was telling him, he had a lot of appreciation because I don't think he really ever got told how great that record really was, and it was like the fact that I don't have too many rap CDs anymore. My ex took a lot and sold them. Sadly, I also gave some to some people, lent some away, but I kept this one because this is one of my all-time favorites. So if this doesn't tell you how much I love this album, I first heard this in high school. It was my joint, man. It was my shit. I was always playing this. I love this record. That's got to tell you. Like that's why the DOC, you can't have a top 100 without his list. The golden voice, as he calls it or not, got to give the DOC his flowers. And, especially because we've talked, he knows I got mad love and respect for him. I love No One Can Do It Better. Helter Skelter is my shit. Got to mention the one and only, the DOC, right? So, okay. Next, we get to 53, which is Andre 3000 of Outkast. And with Andre 3000, I mean, I like Big Boy's rhymes. Big Boy's got some good lyrics, like especially you hear the songs where he's rapping mostly like I Love the Way. But I mean, go back to Outkast's first album, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music. I mean, the beats, the lyrics, Players Ball, Southern Playalistic Cadillac funky, like Southern Playalistic Cadillac funky music. Yeah, like man, that was the joint. And then Crumbling Herb, man. Crumbling, yo, I'll put it this way. Crumbling Herb was just one of those songs when all hell would break loose. I would put on Crumbling Herb. This back when I smoked marijuana. I quit, right? But this was back when I smoked it. I just put on Crumbling Herb. I smoked some weed. I forget whatever was bothering me. Like the world could be ending around me. If Crumbling Herb is playing and I'm smoking a little of the good shit, I'd relax right away. And Andre's lyrics on that, fantastic. I mean, that's why his lyrics are so precise and quick. And oh man, he's got some clever metaphors. Like I love Andre 3000 style because he could rap so fast and give you such complex, tight lyrics in that span. Big Boy's got kind of more the laid back, I'm the pimp, I'm the hustler, whereas Andre 3000's not afraid to be like the scholar, the poet, and he's deep with it. And I mean, you look at the appearance he did. This is my favorite song by John Legend, Green Light. Green Light is an amazing song. The beat, the funky lyrics. I even did my own version of that when I was a gospel rapper, right? Like, I just love that beat. I love John Legend's vocals on that great song. But Andre 3000's verse, whew, one of the greatest guest verse I ever heard on an R&B track. Like, man, he is just ripping it. And that beat, especially when the horns come in near the end. Da, 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 da. Like, I was like, yo, that is just one of the greatest tracks. And like I say, you look at all the great tracks, like when he did Elevators. This was around the time I think he was with Erica Badu and they had a child together. Like, Elevators. He had this one line. It was so clever. He was like, "If I if your feet don't move to the beat, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck." I'm like, break that down. If your feet don't move to the beat, like, and what he's saying, he don't eat. So we like neck to neck. Your neck's gotta be bobbing, or he is gonna be starving. Like when you break it down, I'm like, man, that's so deep. And then you listen to songs like Miss Jackson, where he's like, you could predict a pretty picnic, but you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. The way he threw that in there, like that's a clever saying, but the way he threw that into his rhymes, that was great. And then you listen to his verse on like Bombs Over Baghdad, he's just going like on a metronome. If you were to look at his verse on that song on a metronome, it'd be like that's how fast he's rapping. And so complex, so compact, and just the man's a beast. Like, and I find it strange that he's retired from rap and now he's playing flute. But to each his own. Hey, I do that too. I play the sax, so I ain't hating. You know what? I dig it. I actually think more, rappers should get into playing instruments. So I actually applaud him for doing that. Some people hate on him for doing that. No, no, no. Andre, you do your thing, man. I actually dig it. I rip the sax too. Hey, you ever want to make an album jamming together, you playing flute, me playing the sax, I'm all for that, man. Like, for sure. But lyrically, man, Andre is just he's crazy. He's crazy good with it because the whole 3000 is like he's light years beyond the average rapper. He is like because they had the album AT Aliens, like because they're from ATL. AT aliens, and I'm like, yo, he is an alien. He's 300 light years away from us because that's how good he is. But yo, I love Andre 3000 for reals because of the difference in the style, the poetic, the speed. Oh man, that's why like I like Big Boy and everything. No disrespect to him, but if I have to pick only one, I'm gonna go with Andre, 100%. Maybe that's part of why they broke up. There was probably that competitive edge between the two of them. But okay, next we got number 51, Master Killer. And I will actually say this. He is probably one of my favorite members in the Wu-Tang Clan. I would actually say my top 3 are him, RZA, and Jizza. And you'll see RZA and Jizza come up later. But for now, let me make sure I spell his name right because I always get confused because Ghostface Killer has the H at the end of his name. But Master Killer, see, I'm looking it up. Yeah, Master Killer doesn't have the H. It's just Killer, no H. Ghostface Killer has the H at the end. And Killer Priest, who I mentioned at the start of this list, has the H at the end too. So I always get confused. Master Killer is the only one who doesn't have the H at the end. So, um, Master Killer. You know what? What I love about his style is he's so crafty. He's got such good lyrics and he's got the most unique, unorthodox style of rapping that I've ever heard. Like, what I love about Master Killer is every time he's on a track, I get excited because I never know what he's gonna take where he's going to take you with it. Like he has this really suspenseful rap style where he's kind of rhyming all over the beat and he's hitting it at different points, kind of like throwing ninja stars, like or throwing darts on a dartboard. They're always landing at these different points and you don't know where he's going to strike you with next. But he's always hitting you somewhere and he's hitting the target in a very precise way. It's like you look at his debut appearance on The Mystery of the Chess Boxing. That verse, oh my God, the ending verse. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, yo, who is this guy? Because at that point, I had heard every other member of the 9 original Wu-Tang Clan members rap on that record. I'm listening to the whole 36 Chambers for the first time. I heard every other member. You God, first time I heard him was on that song too, and he was nice. But I'm like, Okay, okay. Yeah, no, and a lot of familiar other voices. ODB's killing it. Ghostface Killer's killing it. Raekwon's killing it. All this, right? Inspect the Deck, and then Master Killer comes in at the end. I'm like, yo, who's this guy though? And then I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I'm thinking he's gonna like rhyme this way, and then he'll just completely switch it. He has a line where he's like, rap style changes like a chameleon. And I was like, yo, it kind of does. Like, that's an accurate description because as soon as you think and predict he's gonna rap a certain way, he completely flips the style. Like, and you're just like, whoa. And then he'll hit you from a different angle. And I mean, when he did he's done songs with other people, like he was on a verse for the Grave Diggers on a song up for their second album. I think it was called Hidden Emotions. That verse was tight, right? But I mean, what I love about like his rap style is when they actually got together and did the second album, right? He had a lot more verses on that second album. I mean, he appears on For Heaven's Sake. Inspect the Deck is great. Never really was much of a Capadonna fan. That's why you'll notice he doesn't really appear on this list. And I consider him a Wu Tang affiliate more than a member. They might consider him a member. I don't. I look at it as go by the original members. The ones that were on the first album are the true members. That's how I always looked at it. That's my own personal opinion. People don't got to agree, but I was never really big on Capadonna. But yeah, that verse, Inspect the Deck is killing it. He always does kill it. But then Master Killer, especially because we haven't heard from him in a while, it's like his second verse, like in a Wu Tang song. He rips it. He's so good, and he's like talking about paralyzing you, like to like attack you and stuff with the lyrics, and he's lyrically demonstrating these sort of assassin techniques that he's rhyming with, how his rhymes flow, and it's so interesting the way he demonstrates that with the rhymes by switching things up and kind of hitting you with these unpredictable like cadences to his flow. So yeah, I love that, and then on Visions. He had my favorite verse on Visions. I also really loved Method Man's verse and Inspect the Deck on that one. Um Severe Punishment, man, he had my favorite verse on that one. Like Jizza, Master Killer, and You God have my three favorite verses on that song. And then of course A Better Tomorrow. Man, I love that verse because he tells this deep story and he's using that usual Master Killer, you can't predict what he's going to say next style, but he tells such a beautiful story in the intricacy of it all. And then, yeah, he's got songs on, like, let's see, Triumph. He has the ending verse on Triumph, and it's my favorite verse on Triumph, being honest. Like, my favorite. Definitely. So, and then Deadly Melody, killing it again. And then Bells of War, he's great on that. Let's see. I'm looking at all the other ones on the Wu-Tang second album. I think that's actually it. But yeah, like I say, like, and then you look at how he appeared on other Wu-Tang projects. I loved his verse on Duel of the Iron Mike. Like, Inspect the Deck was hot. I really love Jizz's verse. It's his song. It should be. But I think overall, Master Killer had my favorite verse on that song. So Winter Wars too is another example of You God killing it. And same with Master Killer. Like the line, gripping mics like a python. I was like, ooh. Like he's deadly like that. He's so good. You really can't anticipate his next moves. He's stealthy with his style, right? So okay, yeah, that's why I put him at 51. Next we get to 50 with Immortal Technique. Now, he is an underground rapper, but this was actually one of the first rappers I really got into and listened to. Like, this was one of the early days when I was really first getting into hip hop and starting out. And I loved Immortal Technique because he raps about all this hardcore stuff that he's so good. It's just the things he talks about, the things he says are too dark to be mainstream. He shows that, you know what? Making a lot of money and being famous and having commercial success doesn't guarantee that you're going to be a good rapper. It's about skills. And if we go on by skills, hence why Immortal Technique is in the middle of this entire grand list. Think about it like this: he's underground, never won a Grammy, never achieved platinum status, never had a hit song on the radio or a major big music video, yet he manages to be number 50 on the list. Think about that. Why does he get so high on the list without all those things that people would deem as success? Because his music is that good. I mean, Cause of Death, Internal Bleeding, Peruvian Cocaine, Dance with the Devil, um, Industrial Revolution, Creation and Destruction, Dominant Species, You Never Know with Jean Grey. I mean, he got songs, yo. Okay, he might not have the hot singles, he might not have massive videos or Grammys or platinum albums. Yo, he got songs, bro. Like, if we being real, I'm like, yo, his catalog of songs is impeccable. Like, those first two albums are flawless. Okay, yeah, they're not commercial, they're not mainstream, and he keeping it real. He being the Harlem dude with his Peruvian background. But if we being real, like, I'm even gonna go just through his first albums and like just break down to you how good they were, right? Like, he's never released full albums. He did a mixtape, which was The Third World, which I didn't really get into because I feel like it was just a mixtape. It didn't have the quality of Revolutionary Volume 1 and 2 as far as being like a whole album. But those whole first two albums, man, they were incredible. Incredible. I mean, Creation and Destruction, dope. Dominant Species, dope. Positive Balance with Big Zoo, dope. The Getaway, dope. Beef and Broccoli, kind of like an interlude, right? That's actually great. Like, it's funny. I'll put it this way. Beef and Broccoli. See, I didn't know this. I'm looking at the album. Beef and Broccoli, the instrumental to this was produced by Jean Grey, who is another great rapper and singer, too. And I never knew she produced. So I'm like, seeing that, I'm like, wow, I never would have thought Jean Grey produced that. See, even I'm learning things, share this with all of you, which is great. So I'm like, yo, Beef and Broccoli is hilarious because he's saying what his dietary choices are. He's saying you should judge a rapper for his dietary choices, and it's actually funny. No Me Importa, No Me Importa, really good song. Top of the Food Chain with Poison Pen remix, dope. The Poverty of Philosophy is just him spoken word poetry telling you about the real problems about poverty in America. Then he's got Revolutionary, which Jean Grey also produced. Wow, I didn't even know Jean Grey produced all this dope stuff on the record. That's ill. But and she does a verse on this record later on. But yeah, like Revolutionary's tight. Spend Some Time is like this short instrumental interlude, which is cool. And then Dance with the Devil, and then there's a hidden track at the end where it's him and Diabolic just freestyling. And I mean, Dance with the Devil is the most dark, scary, intense rap song I've ever heard. Like, it gives you the chills to hear it. And he's telling this story, and it feels like he really is telling a real story, and it's dark. And like, I'll put it this way: after I heard that, I felt haunted. Like, I was like, like, you know what I mean? I think that's why they put the hidden track at the end with Diabolic and him freestyling to end it, because that song is so dark. You gotta like make people turn the CD off and take a breather, a pause after hearing that, man. It's a great song, but dark as fuck, yo. Like, so dark. So that's why they gotta hype it up and like just, kick some crazy dope lyrics to round the song off and make it so it's a little less dark at the end. Just so you'll keep listening to the album, because That song is the kind of song you might want to pause and turn off the CD after. Not that it's not good, it's just it's heavy shit. You would sit and think about it after. And then he's got The Prophecy, another dope song. Understand Why, another interlude. No Mercy. Ooh, he goes hard on that one. And then of course Caught in the Hustle, Speak Your Mind, and The Illest. The Illest with Jean Grey and Pumpkinhead. Ooh, they all killing it. I mean, Jean Grey is dope on that song. They're all dope. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, and that's just the first album. So check this. This is why I say his first two albums were just phenomenal. And then the second album, Revolutionary Intro, which is just Mumia Abu Jamal talking. Then The Point of No Return, dope song. Then you got Peruvian Cocaine featuring Pumpkinhead, Diabolic, Tone Deaf, Poison Pen, Lucifer, and Raise Walls. Yeah. And then you got Harlem Streets. You got Obnoxious, The Message in the Money, Industrial Resolution, Crossing the Boundary. Oh man, Crossing the Boundary is one of my favorites, yo. And then Sierra Maestra, dope. The Fourth Branch, that's some deep shit because it's talking about the corruption of the governments connected to media and all that. Then Homeland and Hip Hop, which is like another interlude track. Then he's got The Cause of Death, which is crazy. He's got Freedom of Speech, which uses the Pinocchio sample of like, I got no strings to hold me down. I love that because you wouldn't think of making such a dope song with that. And he's got a line where he references the Elephant Man. Like, it's just great. And then Leaving the Past, dope. Truth Razors, dope. You Never Know, featuring Jean Grey, which is one of the most deep, poetic, emotional songs I ever heard. So it's not just always hard underground gangster shit, but that is a deep, sad song because of the story he's talking about. And then the album ends with the one remix featuring Akira. So yeah, you just take all those songs I mentioned. How many rappers got that many hot songs back to back that you could listen to those two albums straight through with no skips? They all tight. That's why the dude gets the number 50 spot, straight up. So next we have 49, Ludacris. And I'll tell you this, Ludacris always been fresh. I mean, he was dope on the song with Young Buck and T.I., where he was actually dissing T.I. T.I.'s dissing him, called Stomp. And see, he's had lots of great songs. The one where he sampled the Austin Powers beat was cool. The Get Back was great. He's also a great freestylist too, and a good actor too, right? But my favorite album, and this was the album that became the album of my generation, that was really the one that clicked with me, was Theater of the Mind, which for a newer album, because let's see, this album came out. I want to find out the year. Okay, this album came out in 2008. This was the best rap album of that year, in my opinion. Theater of the Mind was incredible. Like, you break it down track for track, and that's what we're going to do. Just so you can understand, like, why I put Ludacris so high up. This album is a masterpiece. If you haven't listened to Theater of the Mind, listen to it. Because he manages to bridge every era of hip-hop throughout this album. That's what's so good is Ludacris is a lyrical beast, man. He is such a great lyricist. He could rap fast. He could kill the punchlines. He's phenomenal. But I mean, he does every style of rap throughout this, and he makes it like a movie. Like, every track feels like its own movie because of the guest and the vivid picture he's painting. So the intro, it feels like, the oncoming attractions you would get in the movie theaters. That's what's great about that. And he just kind of sets the tone. Then he goes into Undisputed. Undisputed might be one of the best songs I ever heard, ever, as far as punchlines. and he's got Floyd Money Mayweather, the boxer, hyping him up throughout the track. And I mean, oh my God, he's got lines, man. I'm trying to think of what like the best line I could think of is, but there's so many good ones. I'm like, yo, he says something about like hot buttermilk biscuits, and I was like, ooh, like he had stuff like that. Like there were just so many. I can't even think of one specific one, but yo, Undisputed was dope, and it's got this really soulful, jazzy vibe that just hypes him up. Like it sounds like this would be the song or the part of the movie where he's training for a big fight, but the fight is being extra lyrical and being a great rapper, right? And then the second track, which is interesting that these two made beef. Well, they had beef and made peace with each other to collaborate on each other's songs. And this was great too, is he has all these different producers on the tracks. Like the intro, The Runners, Undisputed, Don Cannon, Wish You Would with T.I., DJ Toomp, and Eight Tricks. Now, what's great about this is you get to see these two battling each other on tracks in a friendly, competitive way. Like they're still competing with each other, but they both pushing each other to be extra rap. Like he said, the wires in his trunk look like a bowl of full of spaghetti. I was like, oh my God, I lost my shit when I heard that. I was like, yo. And then T.I. comes in and he's like, no, I don't shy away. I'm fly enough to fly away. I'm like, ooh, because he's got enough money. He really like if he wanted to, he ain't going to shy away. Trouble, he don't shy away, but he is fly enough. He could fly away if he wants to, but he's willing to confront you. So I'm like, ooh, that's what I mean. Those two, it's a hot joint because they are going at each other on the track, and it's friendly. At least there's nothing violent. No, I'm gonna kill you kind of thing, but they killing each other like it's like a boxing match of lyrics in that. Like that's what I say. The whole song, first song would be like training. The second one's like a fight, and then it relaxes the tone, becomes more of a club song with one more drink. T-Pain, produced by the Track Masters, which are some legendary producers that worked with, Dr. Dre. They worked with Will Smith, Foxy Brown, like all these cats. So that's what I'm saying. And one more drink is smooth. I'm not really a big T Pain fan, but I like that song. It's kind of funny. It's smooth. It's very mellow. I dig it. And then next you got Call Up the Homies featuring The Game and Willie North Pole, which has got a dope beat by Clinton Sparks. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of The Game, but he's pretty good on this. Luda's great. Willie North Pole is great. And then, oh, okay, the next song. Okay, I remember the next song because this actually made me look at Rick Ross and the Player Circle, which originally had 2 Chainz as one of the members. Track number 6, Southern Gangster acts out like a TV show. Ving Rhames, the actor, yes, the actor, Ving Rhames from, you know, um, Dawn of the Dead and People Under the Stairs. He is so and Pulp Fiction, right? He's narrating it and he makes it sound like it's a TV show. Southern Gangster, starring Ludacris, Rick Ross, and Player Circle. Like, and it's awesome because they're all so good on that song, right? Like Luda kills it. Then like Rick Ross actually had my favorite verse he has ever spit on that song. He said something about how like it costs 20 grand just to fill the gas tanks, like all the different cars he's got. I'm like, yo, you paying 20 grand to fill all the gas tanks up? Damn, man. How many cars you got? And I'm like, he's either got a lot of cars or the cars he's got are straight gas guzzlers. Like that's what it's telling me, man. And then Play a Circle, I mean, the two of them, one of them later became the 2 Chainz, right? They were tight too. But yeah, I think my favorite Rick Ross song was "You're in a Pool of Blood. let me see you swim. And it's like a pool of blood, like you're lying in a pool of blood. And like, you're in a pool of blood. You're probably dead or dying. He wants to see you swim. I was like, yo, this Rick Ross guy, yo, I get why he calls himself the boss, because that is some cold ass shit to say to a motherfucker. There. But yeah, and then that beat was Street Runner. Then we get another Don Cannon beat. And this is a song where he's making fun of himself. The next one, Everybody Hates Chris. And he's got Chris Rock cracking jokes in between his rapping. And he does say some really funny stuff. So it's almost like he's parodying himself, but in good context. Like he likes having the jokes about him because he can laugh at himself. You know, nobody can get him down. And I kind of like that mentality to it. Then we got the song What Them Girls Like featuring Chris Brown and Sean Garrett. Not really my favorite on that track, but it is a good song. I'd say the other two aren't really the greatest. Sean Garrett's okay. I don't really like Chris Brown, but Ludacris is so good lyrically that it doesn't even really hurt the song. That's how good Ludacris is. And that one was Dark Child, who is a producer known for working on Brandy's music, and I love Dark Child's beats. So the beat, I do agree with Sean Garrett co-producing. It's tight. Tight song. Then next we get Nasty Girls with the other Southern rapper Plies. That one was produced by Swiss Beats. I like that because Plies has got a nice verse. And like, I love Ludacris's verse because first he's compared his relationship to being like a doctor, and then like talk about giving her vitamin D, and then he makes it sound like she's a lawyer. I'm gonna take her to trial. Like, just the metaphors he's using, man, he's killing it. So yeah, that's why I say that. And then Contagious with Jamie Foxx, that's like a nice smooth R&B beat. Last of a Dying Breed is cool because it's got Lil Wayne on it. And I'm not even the biggest Lil Wayne fan, and this was produced by Wildfire. Contagious with Jamie Foxx with Scott Storch, who was ill on that beat. But Last of a Dying Breed is good because of the beat. Ludacris is killing it. And honestly, Lil Wayne actually has probably one of the best verses he ever spit in his career. But then after that, this is when we get to my three favorite joints on the record, like the bangers to end this record, which is why I say this is such a perfect album. You got MVP. And guess what? No guests on it. But you get DJ Premier making the beat. And the shit is hype. And Ludacris killing it. And then you also got these ill samples about being the MVP and all these punchlines he's giving. He's dope. And then guess what? It gets better because the next track, I Do It for Hip Hop, has got Nas and Jay-Z on the same track with Ludacris with some dope scratching, and all their verses are fire. And considering the beef that Nas and Jay-Z had, to hear them rapping together on that song with Ludacris, it's like he's the mediator, but it shows how good the two of them could make music if they just compete with each other in a friendly manner, which is why that's an amazing one. And then you get Do the Right Thing featuring Common and Spike Lee. Spike Lee, the director, yes. He's doing spoken word parts, basically narrating the song. The beat is Ninth Wonder, which is dope. One of my favorite Ninth Wonder beats, and I recognized it was Ninth Wonder because of that unique style of his right away. Common's got a great verse. Ludacris has got a great verse, and it's really some positive kind of hip hop to end the album on. And that's why I say, for all these tracks to make an album that good, some rappers never make an album that good in their whole career. I'll put it this way: me personally, I'd love to make an album that good once in my career, to have all the artists I most want to work with, all the best producers. I love to make an album like that. The way Ludacris did it with Theater of the Mind really is one of the greatest hip hop albums ever made, not just in that era, of all time. All right, so we're at 48. We're getting there. I'm even thinking, you know what? Maybe we'll stop it at 41 today, just because I am getting tired. It's kind of late. We've already run into the hour mark. But next we got Beanie Siegel. And Beanie is so underrated as a rapper, right? Hold on one sec. I'm gonna talk about it. I just gotta have a sip of my tea, have a puff of my smoke, because I'm getting so excited. I'm starting to sweat and all that. I'm like, oh, I need to cool. I need to cool down. Need to calm down. I'm getting too hyped for my own good, right? Sorry, I got a random message. I had to check it out. But yeah, for reals. Okay, so back what I was saying about Beanie Siegel. Sorry for the pause there, people. But yeah, Beanie Siegel is so underrated because he was one of the dudes that like Jay-Z discovered, after Memphis Bleak and Sauce Money, of course, like all that, right? But Beanie Siegel, in my opinion, there's been moments where he actually has out-rapped Jay-Z. He's out-rapped any other Jay-Z artist that he's ever put on. He's got some really great songs like What's Your Life Like Too, The Truth, um, what's another one? Man's World. Y'all, I love Man's World. Okay, I gotta look up this record again. Sorry I keep doing this, y'all. Like, I just get so hyped. But like I want to relive the memory of why I say these rappers are so good because like this is why I would put them so high up is because of shit like this, right? So his first album was The Truth, right? And then his second album, The Reason. That was my joint. Not saying The Truth wasn't dope. The Truth was a classic. But okay. You got Beanie, Mac Bitch. Most of these songs were produced by Just Blaze, a big chunk of them, right? So the first track, Nothing Like It, Kanye West. Very early Kanye West. He also did Gangsta Gangsta featuring Corrupt. And then next, the second song, Just Blaze, Beanie, Mac Bitch. So What You Saying featuring Memphis Bleak. Get Down is a dope song. I Don't Do Much, which is Rick Ross, for My N Word featuring Daz Dillinger. So he's bringing West Coast dudes on this record, and that's what I love about that, right? And then Watch Your Bitches. That's actually kind of a comical song, which is what makes it good. Is Beanie isn't afraid to dabble in humor. Then Think It's a Game with Jay-Z, Freeway, and Young Chris. Yo, that song is dope. Dope. And then you got No ID, who was Kanye West's mentor. He does Man's World with the James Brand sample. That is probably one of my favorite joints on that record. Then Gangsta Gangsta is good. I like Tales of a Hustler with Emilio Sparks. Emilio Sparks actually kills his verse because it's so like bizarre the way he raps it, yet he kills it. He has such a smooth style about it. And it's got this like Western showdown kind of vibe from it. That beat was actually produced by Sean Money XL, who works with 50 Cent, right? Then you got Tales of a Hustler, the one with Amelia Sparks. And following that, you got Mom Praying, which is a beautiful song because it's about some real spiritual stuff and real family stuff. And he's got Scarface on it. And the way they rap the final verse together, kind of blending their vocals back and forth, making it like a duet where they're harmonizing with each other with the rap. Man, that was such a cool concept. Like, that's what I'm saying. Beanie Siegel would come up with things like this. And then Still Got Love for You featuring Jay-Z and Rel. That's a great song. Really deep. Jay-Z pours out his heart. Rel, who was really an underrated singer, sings beautifully on it. And of course, Beanie's got equally good lyrics as Jay on this one. And then What's Your Life Like Too? Man, his lyrics, the beat. This is why I say Beanie Siegel is so good. Like, if you wonder why I'm putting him this high up on the list, listen to What Your Life Like Too. They kicking your door in. It's 4 in the morning. Like the stuff like that. Like he's just man, it's so vivid you could picture it. It's so great. And I mean, you look at the appearances he did on songs like What We Do and Reservoir Dogs. And then his first appearance, one of his first appearances was on a song called Adrenaline with the Roots. I believe that's what it was called. Let me see. Beanie Siegel Adrenaline. I just want to make sure that's right. Yeah. He was on Adrenaline. And yo, his verse was dope on that, man. It was dope. So that's what I'm saying. Like Beanie Siegel is so underrated. And if it weren't for the legal troubles and kind of not getting promoted as well as he should have by Jay-Z, he probably could have been a way better rapper. Because, like I said, there's times, no disrespect to Jay, who's higher up on this list. And I'm not saying all the time, but there are moments, there are songs where those two are on together where Beanie's out spitting him. Nas even joked about that because it's kind of a fact. Like Beanie was nice. He even said compared to Beans, you whack. Because there's moments where Bean shows, whew, he got lyrics, man. He got bars that's hard as fuck, yo. So that's why I'm like, yo, Beanie Siegel for reals. All right, next on the list, we got Cassidy. Okay. For this one, there's not really that much I could say. I'm going to keep this one brief, and not because he isn't that good, but from what little I can say, less is more. Hopefully, you'll get the picture. Now, as far as songs I've heard, I'm a Hustler. He's referencing hip hop. He got the Jay-Z sample. Joint is a banger. And then you listen to the song Where My N-Word At, dope. My drink and my two-step, that catchy club hit. But what makes Cassidy so good is he was known as that rapper in Philly, that battle rapper who could out-rap anybody. And when he used to battle, if you were to watch his online videos where he's freestyling against other rappers, he destroys lyrically any rapper he goes against. That's what I mean. When he's making those songs, it's not doing him justice in a way. Like, you're not really seeing, like, his songs are good. He's still got tight lyrics. I mean, on Where My N-Word's At, he says a line where he's like, my nickname should be diarrhea, how I run shit. I was like, oh man, you see, but that's child's play to him. When he's battling, oh man, he could do surgery and just cut you apart on the mic when he's battling. When he's doing songs, he's kind of toning it down to structure it and make a real song, which he can do very well. And he does because he's got incredible lyrical skills. But man, you hear this dude battling. I'll put it this way. I wouldn't want to battle him. I wouldn't want to battle this dude because he's crazy. He's a beast. So for reals, that's why I'm like, there ain't even that much I could say other than I wouldn't even want to battle this guy. That's how nice he is. All right. So next we got 46, Willie D, an iconic member of the Ghetto Boys. Now, I really, really like Willie D. I like all the members of the Ghetto Boys because I felt like they all were really gifted with lyrics in their songs, and they all brought a special quality to their music. Now, I actually always put Bushwick Bill as my favorite. I could relate to him because I'm not very tall, right? But Willie D, and see, I didn't realize this. Willie D wrote a lot of Bushwick Bill's earlier records, right? And I mean, yo, Willie D is tight for that. I didn't know that, but that's tight. But if I was to sit there and tell you, like, he did like when they did the album This Can't Be Stopped, which the album cover it featured a picture of them wheeling Bushwick Bill in to have like surgery after he got shot in the eye, right? We Can't Be Stopped is a hip hop masterpiece. I mean, his verse on Mind Playing Tricks on Me, that became a big hit. That was a great verse he did. Everybody was so good on that song. Bushwick ends it beautifully. Willie does the second verse incredibly. And I mean, you listen to his lyrics on like songs where he gets solos and when he's rapping with all of them. Like We Can't Be Stopped, he's great on that. Homie Don't Play That, that's a solo. He killing it. The next track, Another N-Word in the Morgue, that's Scarface, he killing that too. Then Bushwick gets a solo, Chucky. Then they all come together for Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Then he gets another solo. And this is why he's so high up, that solo after that. I'm Not a Gentleman. The beat. He is saying some funny ass fucking shit, man. He is telling you straight up, he is on some pimp shit. He is bold and he don't give a fuck. I mean, the one line he had, I found myself repeating this when you deal with stuck up women because that always stuck with me. Yo, that was the most clever lie I ever heard. Like, as far as like a comeback when a woman's being snobby and not respecting you, like, obviously, he says, I treat a hoe like a hoe and a bitch like a bitch and a lady like a lady, but I don't sip Dom Perignon and listen to Loser. Like, but you get what I mean? He's treating them the way they should be treated. He's not assuming they're all that. He's saying, hoe like a hoe, bitch like a bitch, and a lady like a lady. Real shit. So he's not even being derogatory to women. But the one line he said, for anybody who's going to be stuck up and try to play him, he says, you think your pussy made of gold? Well, it's not. You couldn't get a dime for it at the bud shop. And I was like, that was like, he schooled them. And I'm like, that whole song is just dope. And that's why I say he is a clever dude, man. The way he can come up with lyrics like that. Then you got the song, another Scarface song, Gotta Let Your Nuts Hang, Fuck a War, Ain't With Being Broke, where they're all on. Then you got Quickie, you got Punk Bitch Game, which is like a skit, and then you got the other level, which is Bushwick's masterpiece on the record, like Bushwick's best solo. All his solos are good, but the other level is just, I'll put it this way, I lived a similar story to what he's rapping about on the other level, and I can vouch. I know how wild that shit is because I lived a similar story to that record. And I was listening to that record around the time it happened. So, like, that was my joint because I could relate to it. I was going through shit like that song, which is crazy. And then the last song where he has another solo, Trophy. He's really putting it in perspective about how some of the best rappers, some of the best artists aren't getting the credit they deserve. And he's basically like, hey, man, I sold a lot of records and a lot of people know me. So where's my goddamn trophy? And it's like things like that. I'm like, you can't help but love Willie D for his honesty, his forthrightness, and his slick sense of humor. You dig? All right, clear my throat for number 45. All right, next we got Short Dog in the House, also known as Too Short. So with Too Short, I love Too Short because the first song I ever heard of his, I had on a burned CD back in elementary school in grade 8 when I was first really getting into hip hop. And it was a song called The Ghetto. Deep song, great beat. He's talking real stuff. But then I listened to that whole album. I think the album was called Short Dogs in the House, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So this album, man, I'm gonna break this album down to you. And you know what? Anytime I've heard him do guest appearances, like the song with Jay-Z, Real N-Words Do Real Things, or the Biggie song, The World Is Filled, great guest verses. But I mean, this album, this is why he ranks so high with me, because I love this fucking record. Short Dogs in the House, great jam. It's Your Life, great jam. The Ghetto, great jam. Short but Funky, great. In the Oaktown, great. Dead or Alive, great. Punk Bitch, man. Punk Bitch was one of my favorite rap songs because of the beat, the lyrics. Yo, he's straight on his pimp shit with this one. But yo, he's saying some of the funniest, most clever rhymes I have ever heard on that song, Punk Bitch. And it's so real. It's so dope. I love that record. Didn't know he actually co-produced that one. And then the next track, he does a song with Ice Cube. So you know that's going to be hot. Then he's got Heart on the Boulevard. He's got Pimpology. Like I said, he's on his pimp shit. Paula and Janet, which was produced by DJ Pooh. He actually produced quite a few of these songs Too Short himself, right? It's Your Life was actually put on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. And then Rap Like Me, The Ender, which is a really long song. I'll put it this way. I heard that. That song was so influential and inspirational to me. I was literally walking around trying to rap like Too Short after I heard that song. Like, this was early in my development. I heard that. I was literally just walking around freestyling, like following Too Short's blueprint of what he demonstrates in that song. And it was dope. And I mean, to have that big of an impact, that's why I gotta give my man Too Short his flowers. You know what I'm saying? And there was a Wiz Khalifa song, On My Level. I wouldn't even like this song if Too Short wasn't on it. That's how much better he made the song just being on it. And then the song he did with Khalees, he was dope on that too. I wouldn't have liked the song if it was just Khalees. It was a pretty good song, but Too Short is the reason it was a pretty good song. You dig? So yeah, that's why he falls in at number 44. Well, number 45. Now we're on number 44. Sorry. Okay. 44, who I mentioned earlier, the second last member of the Wu-Tang Clan that I'll mention, RZA. Now, RZA's got dope beats with the Wu-Tang Clan. He's got some fire lyrics, especially on songs like Protect Your Neck, The Seventh Chamber. Once again, I think all those rappers in the Wu-Tang Clan just killed their verses on that song because they were all competing with each other, which is why their verses were so good, because they're all on one track together, right? Dope. So yeah, RZA is dope. But why I put him so high up is he also helped to discover the Gravediggers. You dig? Like, I love the Gravediggers. In fact, in my personal opinion, I think RZA was his lyrical best when he was rapping, not on the Wu-Tang Clan stuff. He had some good stuff, but his best lyrics when he was with the Gravediggers, man. You listen to his verses on the Gravediggers, yo, he is going in. He is impaling rappers on pitchforks if you listen to his lyrics on that stuff. And I mean, the beats with Gravediggers were dope, but yo, because he's competing with two other dudes to hold his place in the Gravediggers. He's got Fruquan, the Gatekeeper, Too Poetic, the Grim Reaper, and RZA as the Resurrector. Resurrector, however you want to say it. So, yo, RZA was just a beast. Like, my favorite verses that RZA ever rapped were on the Gravedigger stuff. Blood Brothers, Graveyard Chamber, Diary of a Madman. Dude is bloodthirsty on those tracks, man. Like, he's sacrificing MCs on an altar the way he rapping so good on those tracks. And that's why I gotta give RZA his props and put him at number 44. All right. Number 43. Right. 43, we got Scarface. Making sure I didn't miss anybody along the way. No. Okay, yeah. We got them. Good. Okay. Styles P, Method Man, Q-Tip, Ice-T, Prodigy, The DOC, Andre 3000, Master Killer, Immortal Technique, Ludacris, Beanie Sigel, Cassidy, Willie D, Too Short, RZA, Scarface. Okay. 43 is Scarface, another member of the Ghetto Boys. Now, Scarface is iconic because he has appeared on so many other rappers' songs and made classic nostalgic songs. As you heard me mention on the Beanie Sigel song, his verse on that so good. And I mean, he did another song with Jay-Z and Beanie Sigel where he literally got a call on the phone right before he's about to record, telling him that his man back in like Houston, Texas died. His man dies. And then what does he do? He literally goes into the booth, writes down what he's going to say quickly, and raps about what just happened. Like everything he says on that song literally just happened, and he heard it literally on the phone right before he went and did that. That level of realism, whew. And I mean, like I was saying with the whole We Can't Be Stopped record, right? We Can't Be Stopped is such a good album because of all three of those dudes. Like every member of the Ghetto Boys is at their best on that record. Like they are all so good. And I mean, My Block when he went solo, that's a classic. But yeah, as I was saying, like another N word in the morgue. Oh, he goes hard. Gotta let your nut tang. See, that one was a good one too. I actually really like that. Quickie was probably my least favorite of the solos, but on all the other ones, he was dropping great lyrics. I mean, he had two verses on mine playing tricks on me. When he did Ain't With Being Broke, um, We Can't Be Stopped. All those verses were great too. So overall, that's why I'm like, yo, Scarface is an OG. There ain't even much more I could say. If you don't know Scarface, go check him out for real. All right. Next, we got 42. So our second last one for the night, which is MC Ren. Probably the most underrated member of the NWA group because MC Ren actually got more solo songs on Straight Outta Compton. Like everybody looks at Straight Outta Compton as being this fantastic, like classic record, like the greatest of all NWA records, right? And I agree. I mean, NWA and Posse was good, and E Phil Force Agan was good too. But which I'm actually kind of glad they spelled that backwards, just because I could actually say that without saying the bad word, right? I'm like, yo, um, see, it's so funny because I typed that in and it's taking me to the movie. I'm like, yeah, that's great. The movie was good. I want the album though. I'm like, no, wrong one. Because I want to break this down. Like, this is why I say MC Ren is so underrated. I mean, besides being on the songs that he was on with the other members, he got more solos on Straight Outta Compton than any other one. Because you break it down really quickly. Straight Outta Compton, you get Ice Cube, you get MC Ren, you get the DOC. They wrote it. But the performers, so the DOC wrote Easy's verse. MC Ren did his own verse. Ice Cube wrote his own verse. Fuck the Police was written by those three again, and all three of the rappers on it do it again. Then you got Gangsta Gangsta. Ice Cube wrote that one completely. Easy E does the last verse, and Ice Cube raps the rest. If It Ain't Rough is completely an MC Ren solo, and he wrote all that himself. Then you got Parental Discretion is Advised. The DOC wrote his own verse for Dr. Dre and Easy on that. He wrote three verses, hence why I say the DOC is so iconic. But MC Ren had a wrote a verse and did vocals on that one. Ice Cube wrote his verse and did it. And you have five different rappers on this cut, which is why Parental Discretion is Advised is actually my favorite track because you get five amazing rappers killing it. But like I said, we even go through this MC Ren, MC Ren, MC Ren, MC Ren, MC Ren. This whole time, we've had MC Ren on every track because he's also doing part of the chorus of Gangsta Gangsta, even though he isn't rapping on it. And then If It Ain't Rough, of course, parental discretion is advised. 8 Ball remix, Ice Cube wrote that one, but Easy E did the whole thing. Then Something Like That, you got MC Ren and Dr. Dre. but MC Ren wrote all that. Then you got Express Yourself, which is all Dr. Dre rapping. Ice Cube wrote that. Compton's in the House remix. MC Ren wrote that. Him and Dr. Dre on that one. I Ain't the One, which is Ice Cube, him solo. He wrote it. Dope Man remix. You got Ice Cube and Easy E on it. And then you got Quiet on the Set, another MC Ren solo, written by MC Ren. Then you got Something to Dance To, which Arabian Prince wrote, and Dr. Dre and Easy and Arabian Prince do vocals on. But the whole point in this is see how much MC Ren wrote, and Easy E has a solo, Ice Cube has a solo, Dr. Dre has a solo. MC Ren gets 2 solos. You dig? That shows how underrated. And you know what? The reason I say he's underrated is because think about it like this. When they were making that album, they were taking whatever was the best written songs. And that was what made the cut of the album. Meaning, MC Ren wrote more hot shit than all the other rappers. And that's why he got 2 solos. Does that not spell out underrated? And even though his first album with The Final Frontier did all right, he never really got the respect he did. He still got it. But like I say, he is so underrated. When you think of the lyrics he delivered, all the stuff he wrote, he should definitely get more credited as being a huge part of NWA. And our last one for tonight. This is the last one. Figured I'd do a drum roll, right? All right, we got the one, the only, Busta Rhymes. And Busta Rhymes, yo. I mean, he is legendary. He is such a legendary rapper. He has appeared on songs with Mace and Big Pun in the Game, literally just doing choruses. He's so hot. They will throw him on a song just to do a chorus. And that is not even to discredit when he's rapping. He got crazy lyrics. You listen to the song he did with Linkin Park. We Made It. Dope. One of my favorite joints from Busta Rhymes, Give Me Some Mo. Love it. And he was on that Big Daddy Kane song I mentioned with Q-Tip, right? So, and I mean, he got songs. He was on the Flavor in Your Ear soundtrack. There's another thing he was so good on. I'm getting a bit tired, so I'm struggling to remember, but I'm trying to think of what it was. It was so good, though. Woo Ha, the duet with Old Dirty Bastard. Oh God, those two together. It was like, watch that video. It is a match made in heaven for how crazy these two dudes are together. And I mean, yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, you hear Busta Rhymes rap on things like Touch It. He is so fast. And he could be crazy and get mad aggressive and intense when he's rapping, but he could also relax, rap it smooth, and it sounds cool. I mean, in the beginning, he was like practically shouting his lyrics. Like, he was like, ah, like, he was wild. He was so full of energy, which is probably why he did such a good job making the song Woo Ha with Old Dirty Bastard. But I mean, there's not even that much to say about Busta Rhymes. Like, I wouldn't want to say anything that would do it injustice, other than to say the dude he's a legend. He's a beast, man. I mean, he was cool with Tupac. He actually almost made a song with Biggie. And then because Biggie was going to make a verse going at Tupac, he told him, yo, I can't put this shit on my record. Like, I'm cool with Tupac too, man. Like, he knew he couldn't do it. But yeah, I mean, he's got Woo Ha, got y'all in check. It's a party. Put your hands where my eyes could see. Dangerous. Turn it up. Remix, fire it up. Give me some more. What's it gonna be? I know what you want, and touch it. Like, he's just got so many songs. And I mean, he is so good that even Eminem tries to outdo him. And then he's tried to outdo Eminem. Like, it's just crazy that they going for these wild ass amounts of bars. And I mean, he's got albums. The Big Bag, Genesis, Extinction Level Event, The Final World Front, The Coming, his debut, which was a masterpiece. Like all these, like Big Pun even had a song with him doing the chorus, and it's like he adds such a crazy wild style to just doing the chorus that, as great and lyrical as Pun is, if you're gonna have another rapper doing the chorus, Bun Big like Busta Rhymes lives up to the hype that Big Pun is delivering with the verse lyrics, just with that chorus. Like he hyping up the chorus, and he's so lyrical on that chorus that it doesn't feel out of place. It fits perfectly. And that's why I say he is such a good rapper. Even just doing a chorus, he is going to give you one of the craziest choruses you've ever had. So if he could do that with just a chorus, think about that. Think about how good of a rapper he really is just for that. And with that said, we'll conclude it here and call it a night. It's late and we got to 41. Tomorrow we will get to 40 to let's see, 40. Okay. We'll get 40 to 21. We'll do 40 to 21, and then we'll save the last 21 for the final episode. So we're on the third episode. We got 2 more episodes to go till we get to the number 1. Hope y'all excited. Hope y'all been tuning in. And I bet, if you have been following this, you're probably wondering, you're like, who's going to be number 1? And that's exactly what I want. That's why I ain't revealing shit. You notice I ain't giving you a pre-listed thing. I'm literally telling you what is my list, which I do have written. I'm not just making these up. I have these written. But I ain't showing you the list until we get it down. Because I know anybody who's watching is probably getting on the edge of their seat. Oh, is he going to talk about this rapper? Is he going to talk about that rapper? Who's going to be the top 10? Who's going to be the top 20? I guarantee it builds anticipation because of the suspense of not knowing who is going to be on this list and where it's going to go. And that's why as I do these, I've been putting the names number by chat. That way anybody who watches this, because I saved the chat replay, if you miss one and you don't want to go through the whole process, but you want to know, okay, where did we get to last time? What is the list overall look like? You do have to watch it, or you at least got to scroll to the end of the video, pause it, and look up and down the list to see. But you still got to wait every episode to find out the next round of every 20 we do or so, right? So with the excitement building, I'm sure a lot of people wonder who's going to be in the top 20, who is going to be the top 40 even. For all those questions, you'll have to stay tuned to the next episode. And until then, Super Comic Guru Alucard, peace out. Good night, everyone. Bye for now. Oyasumi Nasai, Matane. Take care. Peace and much love always.